Hey, Team FTC, Coach Enoch here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about shoes. I know for our running at Team FTC, there are many different goals. One being performance, running further, faster, things like marathons and things like that, but also our overall health and our ability to keep our legs and our feet strong and healthy so that we can train, so that we can walk, so that we can move in our daily lives. So generally for running, most runners are in more of like a traditional running shoe. This is the Hoka Mach. It has a pretty high stack height, as you can tell, quite a bit of shoe to it, a 5 millimeter drop, which is pretty middle of the road for a typical running shoe. The cat's coming into the mix here. What you'll see with this shoe is it has quite a bit of cushion. It has some give, so your foot works a little bit. A shoe like this is generally going to put less stress on your lower leg, a little more on your knees and hips, because since it's more cushioned and it has more roll, you're going to stay on the ground longer. Your lower leg won't work as much, and your knees and hips take a bit more of the strain. This is a great shoe for doing training runs. Kind of like slow to medium pace, longer runs as well, even some workouts. Pretty versatile for most training. It does have a little bit of give to it, a little less performance. From there, many of us now train in a cushioned, highly cushioned shoe with some type of plate, either a carbon fiber or like a nylon plate. As you'll tell, this shoe, no matter how hard I try, it won't bend. So lower leg and foot hardly does any work, which is great in like a marathon. It does less stress to a lower part of our leg, so we fatigue less. It basically, the carbon plate does the action for your foot for you. But the problem is, over long periods of time of running in this type of shoe, more stress goes to the knee and the hip because you stay on the ground longer as you roll through it, will put stress into those areas. And also our feet tend to stop working, essentially. Like they literally are not working as much, which is great in a marathon, which is essentially this is a big tool for a high impact, high risk job and a high performance job. However, what I recommend is, I'm going to put a link in for a brand, Seguro, which has barefoot shoes for a pretty affordable price, is to start to work in for easier jobs like walking around at work or at school or things like that, a shoe that is much more flexible. So this is an everyday shoe. They have dressier shoes and things like that. I make no money from this brand, but I have 4 pairs of their shoes because they're affordable. You can see this wide toe box and your foot really gets to work. There's no drop, very little cushion, great to wear if you work at the hospital or any office or anything like that. So that's like a great option. And then I also use a shoe like this. This is a Merrell, but Seguro also has barefoot shoes like this. This is awesome for any strength training, walking your dog, if you wear shoes in your house, things like that. Although I don't really recommend that. I'd rather mostly spend a lot of time barefoot. You can tell very minimal, allows your foot to work. This is better for lower risk jobs, walking around, work. Additionally, something we could start to do, which I recommend doing, is to have a more minimal shoe like this and use it at, say, our track practices for like warm up. You could start with just warm up. You can do it in the grass, especially during the cold time of the year if you don't like going barefoot in the grass, wearing a more minimal shoe for warm up, and even eventually building to cool down. This is something you want to build up to. It's going to put more stress on your lower leg and on your foot and allow it to bend and work the windlass mechanism in your foot to really work and fire. And also it's going to train you to be lighter on your feet, to come off the ground, to reduce some of the strain on your knees and hips, even when you transfer to the other shoes, because your lower leg is going to remember how to work and how to come off the ground quickly, because if you don't with this shoe, you're really going to feel it, whereas with this shoe, you wouldn't. So those are some kind of basic tips of how to have different shoes for different tools, essentially, since that's what shoes are, for different jobs. If you have any questions, feel free to talk to me about this at practice. You'll see the link for Seguro. They have casual, they have dressy shoes for work, all the way up to more like training type shoes. And right now they have a Thanksgiving sale, so that's why I want to get this video out to you. All right, have a great week, and let's stay strong.